Coming up on Global Business, China is drafting a new law to support the private economy and enhance business investment. The OECD reports modest 0.4% GDP growth in the fourth quarter of 2023, continuing a weak trend. It's the third day since the EU launched a naval mission in Red Sea to safeguard its commercial interests. We bring you the latest on the ground. From CGTN headquarters here in Beijing, this is Global Business. I'm Michelle Vandenberg. China has started drafting a law for the promotion of the private economy. China's Minister of Justice, He Rong, made the comments during a symposium on Wednesday. He said the drafting work would widely solicit opinions from the public and reach a consensus among different parties. Attendees agreed that the law will better protect the ownership of private companies and interests of entrepreneurs and improve the business environment for the private economy. It should also address other core concerns of private companies, such as fair competition, fair access to productive factors, and timely payment to small and medium-sized companies by governments and large firms. The government should also maintain the consistency and stability of policies related to private economy within the spirit of the law. Startups and private enterprises comprise some of China's leading innovators and contribute to many of the country's entrepreneurial breakthroughs. This has led to the private economy also playing a significant role in the country's economic development. But as these companies face both domestic and international headwinds, localized financial policies aim to bolster support for them. Omar Khan reports.
Autonomous robotics, artificial intelligence, and advanced manufacturing, all under one roof of a company here in Guangzhou. For the past 38 years, Li Gong has transformed itself from focusing on traditional manufacturing to being a leader in cutting-edge technology, serving multiple clients in a variety of industries and sectors. Li Gong believes that the business and policy ecosystem they find themselves in has been a catalyst to not only their success, but other SMEs.
We feel the industry and IT environments in Guangzhou, alongside government departments, have provided a lot of support. One of the departments has a plan called the Foreign Modernizations Platform for Empowering Enterprises. One of the goals is to have SMEs help other SMEs with digital transformation. In turn, there will be government subsidies provided to us. Another aspect of support is the municipal government takes SMEs to various universities for recruitment drives.
But with targeted policies facing off against continued economic turbulence, can the private sector play an even greater role?
I don't think there's any pressure. With the recognition of private enterprises in a country, we can succeed, and we've always been successful in the past. Facing future challenges, private companies have better vitality compared to large-scale companies. Our ability to remain flexible and make decisions are some of our key characteristics when it comes to changing environments.
Economists also recognize the tremendous potential of the entrepreneurial spirit in driving economic growth.
Private enterprises, they're fueling growth here in China. Do you think that's a direction we should be going in, or do you still think involvement from larger companies, especially SOEs, should play a major factor in China's economic development and growth?
The private economy is a backbone of the Chinese economy. There we're saying that the private economy contributes 50% of government tax revenues, 60% of the total GDP growth in China, 70% of innovative productions, 80% of the job employment, and 90% of the number of the company in China is private companies.
Omar Khan, CGTN, Guangzhou.
China has identified the concept of new productive forces as a key focus of its economic work in 2024. This strategic approach emphasizes the importance of scientific and technological breakthroughs, as well as innovation in driving economic growth and development. Our reporter Wang Tianyu visited the manufacturing base of a well-known domestic electric vehicle company to explore how innovation and automation are boosting production efficiency.
This is arguably one of the most automated car factories in China, or even on this planet. we got a chance to go deep inside.
欢迎来参观未来第二先进制造工厂。
Walking through this corridor, we immediately got to our first stop, the paint shop. The core of the workshop is the giant vehicle storage system, what they call the cube. I prefer to call it a giant claw machine. Anyway, the 6-story vertical garage can stock 246 vehicle bodies, with 2 elevator handles helping to store and retrieve. This buffering process helps avoid constantly changing the spray gun. This lifts the overall production efficiency.
我们现在整个 OTD
Our current order to delivery process only takes 21 days.
只要21天的时间。
Next stop, body shop. In here, over 700 robotic machines are doing their jobs in an orderly fashion. But the leading technology here is what goes behind the fully automated door installation. The robotic machines are able to tightly and smoothly install the 4 doors to all of NIO's 8 selling models, with a tolerance of plus or minus 0.05 millimeters. It is about the same width as a single strand of your hair. As we were moving to our final stop, I unintentionally revealed my lack of knowledge.
小心。不会，它自己会停下来。它会停了是吧？对。
These auto-guided vehicles, or AGVs, are everywhere in NIO's plant, especially in the general assembly shop. They transport car parts or even car bodies to their designated locations, with no interference from human beings. Of course, the robotic machines are programmed to avoid human workers too.
Right here, the assembly line only moves when the workers stand behind this yellow line, and when they go into the yellow line and start to do their work, the assembly line stops thanks to the little sensor right here, and this is to ensure the workers' safety.
China has been the world's largest new energy vehicle market for 8 consecutive years. The country has witnessed a dramatic increase in the number of electric cars on its roads, with domestic manufacturers such as NIO gaining prominence.
其实我们整个的理念。
We don't mind showcasing some of our advanced technologies to our business counterparts. Only through mutual communication and collaboration can we better promote this industry.
向上的去发展。
China used to rely heavily on foreign car brands and their manufacturer technology, but now almost 80% of the country's new energy vehicle sales come from local brands. And boosted by the growth of new energy vehicle exports, China's total auto export has surpassed Japan to become the world's #1 last year. So it is fair to say the Chinese car companies have become extremely competitive. Plus, that last part are not my words, but those of Elon Musk. Wang Tianyu, CGTN, Hefei, Anhui Province.
Asia's biggest air show is underway in Singapore, with over 1,000 companies from more than 50 countries participating. Among them is China's domestically produced passenger jet, the C919 aircraft. Our correspondent Mary Lu has more in Singapore.
It is the first time its large passenger jet C919 makes an international debut. You can see right behind me, it is on loan from China Eastern Airlines. They're not only on static display, but also joining a flying performance. The C919 single-aisle passenger jet is being positioned as China's answer to Boeing's 737, which has a series of safety and quality control issues, and to the Airbus A320, which has been plagued by delivery delays due to supply chain problems. This morning, on the first day of the Singapore Air Show, Comac and Tibet Airlines announced the finalization of an order for 40 C919 planes and 10 smaller ARJ21 regional jets. Separately, Comac signed another order for the purchase of 6 ARJ21 planes with Henan Civil Aviation Development and Investment Group. Currently, the C919 is only certified in China and debuted last May with China Eastern Airlines. Internationally, Comac delivered its smaller ARJ21 to Indonesian carrier Transnusa in 2022. And this year at Singapore's air show, that aircraft is also on display somewhere in this area. The aircraft is on loan from the airline to show good relationship between the customer and Comac. Aviation experts say it was a milestone for Comac to enter Indonesia, as it is the world's 4th largest aviation market. And going forward, Southeast Asia will be a crucial market for COMAC expansion and development.
Now, for more discussions on this, let's talk to Dr. Wang Kun, assistant professor from the Hong Kong Polytechnic University. Professor Wang, good to see you. Thank you so much for coming on the show. So first, let's talk about what impact has the development and production of the C919 aircraft had on China's aerospace industry.
Yeah, the aircraft manufacturing is really advanced in technology. So firstly, the C919 could have a significant impact on China's aerospace technology by developing the cutting-edge technologies and innovations in areas like new materials, advanced manufacturing, especially the engine, aircraft engine, and also the electronic information technology. And also it has an impact on the talent pool, because it requires a lot of the engineering, manufacturing, and research and development talents. So it helps China to build the talent pool. And then lastly, I think it also helped China to build a very good supply chain in the aircraft manufacturing and other areas, and also attract a lot of the cooperations and investments, both domestically and internationally. So overall, I think it has a very profound impact on China's aviation industry.
And what do you think are some of the potential implications of this aircraft's entry into the global market for China's long-term strategic goals in achieving self-sufficiency in the aviation sector and also reducing dependency on, of course, foreign aircraft manufacturers?
Yes, I think so. The Boeing and Airbus, they dominate the aircraft market for decades. China is the second largest aviation in the world, so demanding huge number of aircraft. So C919 makes China reduce the reliance on the Boeing and Airbus for sure, and also enhance China's technology capabilities and also the negotiation power and also our national pride. So, in addition to China Eastern, many other major Chinese airlines, they have placed a huge order on the C919. So it's a very good signal. But frankly speaking, we also see some challenges for C919 to go to the global market. As the reports just said that Boeing and Airbus, they may respond in competitive measures like price reduction. And also China needs to work hard to get the certification standards for the other foreign markets. So I think it may take some time for the foreign airlines to realize the competitiveness and attractiveness of C919. So the overall, I think, is the future is bright.
And speaking of competitiveness, how has the competitive pricing and performance of the C919 aircraft influenced the purchasing decisions of airlines in China and around the world so far? And what kind of effect has this had on the broader global commercial aviation market?
Yeah, as I mentioned in the past, Boeing and Airbus, they basically monopolized the market. So the market competition is limited. So the result is the aircraft is very expensive. So, the C919, they offers the cost-effective alternative to many airlines, especially in comparison to the Boeing 737 and Airbus 320. So I think this affordability would be very attractive to those budget-conscious airlines, especially in the emerging markets like the reports mentioned, the Southeast Asia market, even Africa and the Belt and Road countries. After the pandemic, many airlines, they are financially stressed. So I think the C919 would be very attractive. So in addition to the low price, I think the competitiveness of these aircraft also comes from the quality. So the reliability, fuel efficiency, passenger capacity, and also safety. So I think these quality dimensions also make the C919 very attractive, not only to Chinese airlines, but I think the global market.
Yeah, but it takes time to show, so it's a good start, though. Thank you so much for your insights. Great to have you on the show. Dr. Wang Kun, Assistant Professor from the Hong Kong Polytechnic University for us. You're watching Global Business, still to come. The OECD reports modest 0.4% GDP growth in the fourth quarter of 2023, continuing a weak trend.
Strengthening the foundation for a future powered by innovation, where high technology, high efficiency, and high quality converge. These three pillars are set to propel China's new productive forces and supercharge the Chinese economy into a new era of development, new industries, new models, and new growth momentum. Join CGTN as we guide you through the new productive forces poised to redefine the Chinese economy.
The Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, or the OECD, has reported a continued slowdown of GDP growth in its 38 members. Initial estimates show that OECD economic growth slowed to 1.6% in 2023, compared with 2.9% in 2022. The slowdown happened in a context of higher core inflation overall, while contributing factors varied in different countries. For example, falling exports of services served as a main drag for the United Kingdom, and decreasing investment inflicted some pain on Japan and Germany. According to currently available data, Costa Rica, the United States, and Japan were the only OECD members recording higher growth last year. The OECD is made up of 38 market-oriented economies, mostly developed countries from the West. Now, more headlines from three of the OECD economies. The German government slashed this year's growth forecast to 0.2% on Wednesday, citing weak global demand, geopolitical uncertainty, and persistently high inflation. The UK recorded its highest ever monthly budget surplus in January, thanks to rising seasonal tax inflows. The Japanese government downgraded its view on the economy in February for the first time in 3 months due to weak consumer spending, slow wage recovery, and lackluster industrial output. Japan's Minister of Economy, Trade and Industry has warned the Tokyo Electric Power Company to ensure safety after contaminated water was found to have leaked from the crippled Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant earlier this month. Terence Terashima has more from Tokyo.
Yes, Japan's Economy, Trade and Industry Minister Ken Saito summoned Tokyo Electric Power Company President Tomoaki Kobayakawa on Wednesday and instructed him to strengthen safety measures in handling radioactive wastewater-related operations. This comes after wastewater containing radioactive materials leaked from a contaminated water purification equipment earlier this month. Earlier reports by the Japanese media outlet NHK said 5.5 tons of contaminated water had leaked from a vent in a reactor building. Later, the figure was revised to 1.5 tons. 10 out of 16 valves were found open, which was the cause of the leakage. It was a preventable human error. Minister Ken Saito said even a single mistake could result in loss of trust among the local community and society. The warning comes almost 6 months after the government and TEPCO started releasing treated water from the plant into the Pacific Ocean. The activity has sparked safety concerns in other countries too. In October last year, radioactive substance spilled onto workers who were cleaning contaminated water treatment equipment. The power utility was warned against such repeated errors. Japan has plans to release more ALPS-treated contaminated water into the Pacific Ocean this year, raising concerns internationally. Officials say this is a sensitive issue and the company cannot afford mistakes that will lead to losing trust among people. Terence Terashima, CGTN, Tokyo.
You're watching Global Business, still to come. It's the third day since the EU launched a naval mission in Red Sea to safeguard its commercial interests. We'll bring the latest on the ground.
The world economy as we know it is about to change. Global business reports highlight emerging markets, developing countries, and dynamic sectors worldwide. We feature top analysts and newsmakers to provide perspectives on every facet of business. From an on-the-ground perspective, we provide you with balanced and objective assessments. Fast, sharp, and insightful. Global Business. Only on CGTN.
Today is the third day since the European Union launched a naval mission to protect shipping in the Red Sea. The EU's foreign policy chief Joseph Borrell said in a statement that the European Union mission aims to restore maritime security and freedom of navigation. Another EU official said last week shipping delivery times between Asia and the EU have risen by 10 to 15 days due to disruptions in the Red Sea, and costs has surged 400%. The naval mission will be headquartered in Larissa, Greece, focusing on international waters in the Red Sea, the Gulf of Aden, the Arabian Sea, the Gulf of Oman, and the Gulf, along with the main communication sea lines in the Bab al-Mandab Strait and the Strait of Hormuz. Now, for more discussions on the EU's latest actions in the Red Sea area, let's cross over to Alex Cartier in Brussels. Hi there, Alex. So why has the European Union decided to launch this mission, and which countries are involved?
Well, it's clearly been a top priority for the EU since December. That's why the European Union has decided to coordinate this mission. Of course, the EU itself does not have an army, does not have a navy, and therefore plays primarily a coordinating role. And we've seen since December, since those Houthi rebel attacks were ramping up in the Red Sea, the European Union decided to put a plan in place to have this mission rolled out. Now, it's called Aspides, which is the Greek word for shield. And that really to emphasize that what the European Union, what EU officials here have been telling me, is a defensive operation. We know that France, Belgium, the Netherlands, Italy, Germany, Greece will all take part. The main base, as you said, will be in Greece. The force commander will be Italian. The deputy force commander will be French, and it will be very much a defensive operation. They will not be striking targets in Yemen or anywhere else. They will be escorting those commercial ships because, crucially, 12% of cargo shipping goes through the Red Sea, through the area there, and 30% of container shipping. And so for the European Union, the big exporter, big importer, the free passage of civilian ships is crucial.
And has the EU coordinated with other countries on this?
Yes, absolutely. So the EU said that they spoke to like-minded partners operating in the region already. We know the US-led coalition is there, joined by the UK. That mission has been striking targets in Yemen, those Houthi rebel targets, to try and disable some of the military capacity of those Houthi rebels that are backed by Iran. And that will not be the case for the EU. But what officials here have been telling me is that they are coordinating with the United States, the UK, and their partners. They're also coordinating with India, which has a very large naval presence in the region, an anti-piracy mission, and that's how the Indian authorities have described it. And again, officials here are very eager to coordinate. While these may be separate missions, their objective is the same. It is to allow shipping to flow freely from Europe, from the West, to Asia, to make sure that free trade can continue, to make sure economies in Asia, economies in Europe can benefit. So the EU very eager to work with as many partners as possible to make sure the shipping can flow freely in the Red Sea.
All right, thank you so much for that, Alex Cartier, live for us in Brussels. In Egypt, President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi says the Suez Canal revenues have dropped 40 to 50% amid the unrest in the Red Sea. Commercial shipping companies have taken their businesses elsewhere as Houthis' attacks on Israeli-linked commercial ships draw retaliatory airstrikes from the U.S. The shipping corridor, considered one of the world's most important waterways, is the shortest shipping route between Europe and Asia. Last month, the chairman of the Suez Canal Authority announced a 30% drop in ship traffic compared to the same period last year, also attributing it to tensions in the Red Sea. The canal's revenues hit a record-breaking $9.4 billion during the 2022 to 2023 fiscal year, carrying 12% of global trade. The waterway is a crucial source of foreign currency for Egypt. Houthi attacks on commercial shipping vessels in the Red Sea are putting pressure on energy supply out of the Middle East. Rerouting of cargo around the Cape of Good Hope has increased travel time and pushed up shipping costs. Julie Shire reports.
Ongoing attacks by Houthi rebels on commercial shipping vessels passing through the Red Sea has tightened oil supply from the Middle East, but could benefit African producers.
European buyers in particular source quite a lot of spot oil and gas from Middle Eastern suppliers, which has to be shipped through the conflict zone. And to some extent, they have shifted their purchases to Atlantic sources. West African suppliers have a lot of contract oil that they send out, particularly to East Asian buyers. And then a certain amount of that oil is available on spot purchases. And so while the price of the oil hasn't necessarily gone up, demand for it has increased.
Many oil majors have abandoned Egypt's Suez Canal and are opting to travel around South Africa's coastline. Despite being safer, it is playing havoc with supply schedules.
The transit time has been increased by this situation. Obviously, the shipping lines, so the shippers owners are very reluctant to take risks with the cargo, with their vessels and so on. So the trip through the Cape of Good Hope has added some days, of course, on the travel.
Transport costs have doubled since November, but the rerouting has also been a blow for carbon emission targets as vessels sail full steam to deliver goods on time.
When the ships arrive in Europe, because the ships now have to pay for a contribution towards their carbon dioxide emissions under the EU's emission trading scheme. And the faster they go, the more carbon dioxide they emit on their voyage, and the higher the price they have to pay for carbon allowances when they arrive.
Egypt probably stands the most to lose as shipping companies continue to avoid the Suez Canal. According to the United Nations, more than 20% of container trade sailed through the canal before the crisis. Weekly traffic has plummeted 67% and could fall further if tensions between Israel and Palestine drag on. Julie Shire, CGTN, Cape Town.
And that will do it for this edition of Global Business. I'm Michelle Vandenberg in Beijing. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.